All right, so we are recording again. This is game 3 of the Rabble Round Robin 2022. Paris, thank you very much for hosting. This is Territories on Quixotism T.E. Trowel. All right, here we go. So, we have, again, 2.5 minutes to talk about the pregame. We have Team Shad with Paris, Overdose, Jahral, and Father Xmas versus Team HMP, Lord Scary Owl, Killer King, Walter Wight, and Vinarian. So these are, I believe, the exact same 10 people for the last 3 games. So we should be getting a good idea of what each player is about. Walter Wight, what are your impressions?
Well, Shad will always bring his own flair to the game, and it's not going to be a good one, and he's not going to be able to beat this team. I mean, plain and simple. He wants to play by Giant Killer General's standards, but he's not as good a player as Killer General. That's all pretty much it has to stand for it, but we haven't seen the trades yet, so maybe that's wrong, maybe that's right.
What is Giant Killer General standards? As a World War II player, I have no idea what you're talking about.
That is uh, kind of the myth two like reg standard of like world of two team, I guess. Like he can he's basically has been able to establish the best strategies ever for all teams pretty much ever, especially whenever he's playing. It can't be for all time because for all time means like, well, yeah, you can come up with a strategy against that. And so Giant Killer General has decidedly not come back to two team, but Shad abides by his general ideas, and people can't execute it the same way as GKG could. And Shad is his protege to some level. So like Shad has interesting ideas
Game.
on how to cap, but Shad is not a good player.
Okay, well, those are some pretty bold words. But anyway, what do you think about the unit trading? I think we see more soulless. Oh wait, no, we see more fetch. I think on
So Shad traded
on
based on like a high fetch trade on the red side. Go
yes,
click there.
and we see a lot of mortars on HMP's team.
Correct. HMP helped design this map. And so he knows that terrain is more important than fetch, and that fetch will get duped by the terrain. They can't shoot their lightning. If they get like confused, they'll walk around and
Captured.
kind of be silly. And so we'll see a lot of very fun
Captured.
mort moves
Flag captured.
over fetch moves.
Flag captured.
Okay, so now we are at 9 minutes essentially. So we have sort of a broken trow cluster. We have Paris with 3, Shad with 2, LSO with 3, HMP with 2. Do you think it's the correct decision to split up the trow? Not just one, split up the trow amongst 2 different players, and secondly, do you think it's best to split the trow, in 2 different areas of the map?
So I also have two different answers to that, but I would say yes. For territories, it's probably better. For a large flag map, it's kind of nice to break it up. But the other answer is understand if you have a team that can accept if you take the trow back or tro. I have to say tro because trow sounds like weird. And I always thought it was tro. Anyways, we can discuss that later. But take the tro back. Some caps that are really good at communicating will say, like, I'm going to send these tro up here, and you just have to, like, this will be your force, but I might take them back later. Because it might be better to have 5 tro force against a 2 4 tros, a 2 force tro.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I noticed was that you have 2 Dwarven mortars going north. Now, it seems like the action's going to happen mid. What?
This is a Terries map if we're going to parse my behavior out. And so my goal is all the action, especially in this map, which I've played a ton of times. Actually, like, move your cursor to the start of the map,
Oh, your side?
either side.
Okay.
Yeah. All of the character, like, our unit formation essentially happens directly in the middle, and half of those people impact the tro, which are the map developer had placed them on the ramp. And so actually you can win this map if it's cloth, based on the amount of time, even just in specific, if you can just even spread your units out from that first start. Because if you notice, everything filters through a very specific channel from where the flag is at the very start to the middle.
Okay, yeah, I
It's a
mean,
very, very specific way with a lot of units. So I moved my units north because A, it gets them out of the way of the faster units, but B, I actually got to some of the hills faster, which also helped me to get some of the top kills and kill damage ratio of the entire map. So we can play it out and we can see, but that's the general idea. Yeah.
okay. Well, do you have anything else to say before I get going on
No,
this?
no, no. You
All
can.
right, let's do it.
I was wondering if you did, or that's why you were pointing it out. But
No, but it seems like most of the action's going to happen in the middle, so I'm just going to kind of sit on this for a while. We see that, Paris with the 3 trow,
Flag.
Father
contested.
Xmas with 8 fetch. Um, let's see, some Recridia packs. I have 3 Dwarven mortars sort of chilling in the back. Perhaps I should have moved all of them forward into the water area, pushed off these soulless,
Flag
who knows.
captured.
Then we got a soulless pack by with Jahral Toad. He's going to try and I don't know what he's doing anymore. But yeah,
but if you're staying on those tro, that's really good.
Yeah, I mean LSO is pretty good with that. We see Killer King trying to get some of the trow. Meanwhile, we have Jahral Toad, who should be doing the same thing. He's just kind of trying to pick off this mortar, I guess. Now we see our hero, Overdose, trying to blast Killer King, but he's too slow. And then we see a lonely fetch over here. We see a couple of... Uh-oh. What is this? HMP. I think you just got a free walk around to our side of the map. That can potentially bring some havoc.
Which again, on a multi-flag map, is going to be a huge thing. So for here, then I get some free kills because I get terrain with my morts, who have just finally walked around and get to eat up these souls.
Yeah, and
So I actually don't take that much damage, but I get a lot of kill damage.
I'm pretty much just World War IIing with my mortar. All my guys got killed. You're moving around.
Well, and then, like, Renwood or something, I guess it was Father Xmas, had met me, like, up north later with a pack of mercs, and then I can just chase him because I know that, like, even if he was good at melee, he wouldn't be able to handle the melee I had, so
Captured.
Yeah.
the game was over.
Yeah, the game. I mean, the game. I think the game was over when HMP crossed the river and just went into our backside. That was a pretty strong move on his part. That there was no kind of north presence, and I don't even know if anybody
So what is your
saw
take
me.
on Fetch versus Morts in this instance? Because I always like
Contested.
I would as a captain, I actually was very surprised. So I saw the trade, and HMP went no Fetch. He went all Mort on this, and I have only seen this as an all Fetch map. But it's only because this map is usually played with only a dead center. And so I guess,
Captured.
like, I would say consider Mort if you play this as a flag map or like a long term map. But if you're dead center, I would say like the person that wins the fetch and trow in the
Flag
middle or
captured.
trow in middle wins. That's the hard thing. Like I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think one on one, the mortar wins, 99% of the time versus a fetch. But
No, I would disagree on that. Well, I guess it all depends on terrain. And that's what HMP really
5
understood.
seconds remaining.
well, I play World War II, so that's all I know. I don't really care about these reg units. I don't know the matchups, but I would
Well,
just,
think about like it'll blast your shot
yeah,
regardless of when you send it. Like I can just like
Captured.
ground click and immediately offset the shot.
yeah. I mean, you could say that, but
Flag
Dwarven
lost.
Mortar usually costs 8 points. A fetch usually costs 6 points. So a Dwarven Mortar, is more valuable at presumably because it would kill a fetch because and if you divide 8 into
Flag
14,
captured.
we're talking 4 out of 7 times, which is over 50%. The Dwarven Mortar's going to win if you go by points, right?
If you go by points, but it's not going to win based on points for sure. And you're a spreadsheet guy, and I appreciate that about you.
Team
But
eliminated.
in this particular instance, it wins because of terrain.
Well, I mean the mortar should win 4 out of 7 times. That's just math. Anyway, so we have
At the point, I would like to test it out, but I think that ultimately I'm going to beat your mortar 100% of the time with one fetch.
well, I mean that sounds like a challenge. I would lay money on that. Anyway, so we have HMP, triple digit damage. Lord Scary Owl, triple digit damage. And then there's everybody else. Paris, of
Well,
course.
except this was one that I was on. I didn't quite understand Paris's math scoring, so because I actually had kill ratio by quite a lot, but I had very little damage. So,
Well, I mean,
but
24, it's double digits, man.
I got 4 kill ratio, bitches.
I mean, ratios or whatever, right? I mean, it's obviously, the end game is did you win or did you lose, right? And you guys definitely won that in a very convincing fashion. I maintain the position that the game was lost when HMP crossed, it's just like Julius Caesar when he crossed the Rubicon, it was over for, who did he kill? Marcus Crassus or somebody? It was over. And he
That's
just
true.
came
Yeah,
down relatively unobstructed, just started kicking the heck out of some fetch that was AFK. My 2 Dwarven mortars, which represented like 2 out of the 3 units that I was given that game, they were AFK. And Jahral, he was sort of out of position, I think, with his soulless. And we ended up just getting more or less surrounded. Well, not surrounded, but flanked from the north, and there wasn't much we can do at that point.
I also want everyone to understand HMP. Like I pointed it out at the very beginning, and yeah, he is just he's better than any player that is in this game. Like you can't single-handedly tell me that there's one player better than him.
Well, I mean, those are some bold words, and I'm sure if he's watching this video, he appreciates the compliments. But there's probably a lot of people who might want to put your theory to the test. And I would love to be there to facilitate that via perhaps some OD coins if we want to turn it into some kind of betting match. I'm always down for that. But yeah, I mean,
IOD coins have actually like really compound. I made over $5,000 recently.
well, that's great to hear. But yeah, I mean, OD coin. If you're in for the long haul, it's a guaranteed winner. But yeah, do you have anything else to say?
How could one purchase an OD coin?
Basically, you just have to bet on myth games, and if you're good enough, then the results will speak for themselves.
That's great. No, I think that this game is well said and done.
Well, personally, I thought this game was kind of BS. I basically forgot about two of my three, important guys in the game, and maybe I should have moved to the middle with all of my Dwarven mortars instead of just one and having the other two go AFK. But at the end of the day, you are talking about how HMP isn't properly represented, but I think I gave him some props when he crossed the north in the Trow game. He crossed the north again in this game. So I mean, so far this tournament has really been the HMP show. I believe he's won every single game so far.
And based on Paris's scoring, he's the top dog.
Okay. Well, I mean, when you say that he might not be the best, but he might be the absolute best player out of this group of 10 or out of anybody. Those are some bold words, but his play over
I
the
would
last.
put him up against Giant Killer General, but I don't know that either one of them would actually care to participate.
Yeah, well, who knows, right? But yeah. So do you have anything
It's
else?
worth putting out there.
Do you have anything
No,
else?
I don't have anything else for this particular map. I think we're in a good place.
Okay, good. Let's try and move on to the next one over here.